So, is Casey Neistat autistic? Let's talk about it. I'm Dan. I have Asperger's syndrome, ADHD, OCD and dyslexia. I make weekly videos on this type of content, so if you're new around here and you want to learn more, remember to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you get notified every single time I upload a video. And also, if you're watching on Facebook, give this page a like and a follow. Okay guys, it seems like forever that I've done a video in this room. This is my living room, and I used to do all my videos up here. Now we have like an office and stuff and I do it down there, but anyway, it's so good to be back up here in the living room making videos again. And if you guys really enjoy this setup, let me know in the comments below so I can do more of these. But if you like my other setup, well then I'll just do them down there. But anyway, regardless of that, before we get into the Casey Neistat stuff, I just want to go to get some questions answered from my Instagram. And if you guys don't already know, I ask weekly for people to ask me questions on my Instagram stories. So if you want to be featured in a video just like this, head over to Instagram, give me a follow. Link is in the description below, or my tagline is above the top here somewhere. And you'll be notified when I actually post my stories to ask for you guys to ask me questions. Okay, so the first question from Pink Tiffany CAV or Cav. They said, how does autism affect your music career? Positivity and negativity, if any. So if any of you guys don't know, I'm a musician. I'm in a band that's signed to 2 labels, one in America, one in Japan, and we play pop rock music, I guess. We're called Straight Jacket Legends, and I'll try and leave a link in the description below if I remember. And I find that having autism, it made me focus more on learning how to play music. I actually taught myself to play a bunch of instruments like bass guitar, drums, violin, cello, a bit of piano, ukulele, banjo. The list just goes on. I mean, it's not like, I just feel like any instrument is playable. You just have to pick it up and play it for a couple of days and then you'll get it. And I think that's a positive thing. There is no negative with it, I think. I suppose the only negative is that travel anxiety and anxiety of getting to the venue, and the anxiety before playing. Playing is cool. Playing, a show is actually excellent, but the anxiety before playing is terrible. Okay, so the next question here is from Emily Seahome, and they said, what is stimming and what stims do you do? This is a great question. Stimming is short for self-stimulatory behavior, which is like an involuntary repetitive nature that people on the spectrum do because they have this notion to want to have things that repeat. That's why we like routines. That's why we like doing the same things over and over again. And so my stims, I have a few different ones. I have I like rock from side to side. I rock forward and backwards. I actually flick my fingers like this, stimming wise, and I actually rub them together quite a lot. And then one of the ones that is like one of my it's one that happens really involuntary, but it's normally like when I get super excited, super anxious, or super nervous. Is that like I'll twist my head back like that, and my arms will go out, and then I'll kind of like just, I don't know, my head pulls to the side. It's hard to explain. I'd have to like show it to you, but it's hard to show it to you because it just happens randomly. And that's what I do for stims. Thank you guys for all your awesome questions. Now, it's the main point of this video. I wanted to do this video for a very long time, and if you've been watching any of these videos in this series, you'll know that I've been talking about YouTubers who may be on the autism spectrum. And let's just make this clear. I'm not here diagnosing people. I'm not a diagnosis practitioner. I'm not somebody who can diagnose people. I'm just a guy who has Asperger's syndrome, and I do videos on it. So I'm always looking out for traits and characteristics in other people. If you guys can see, my dog is like having some weird episode in the back here. He's just like sniffing the couch. It's crazy. Randy, it's a good boy. So this video is purely just me just looking at what Casey Neistat's lifestyle and how he reacts, how he behaves, his behavior is like, and then putting that to the test. Okay. So let's talk about it. So Casey Neistat, if anybody of you guys don't know, he is a very, very famous YouTuber who YouTubes stuff like he makes cool videos on like lifestyle and vlogs and like traveling. He does like reviews. He does a bit of tech. He really kind of crosses the genre a bit with anything. But his main thing is his vlog, and he's very famous for doing this daily vlogging that he started. He doesn't do daily vlogging that much anymore, but when he does, it's pretty epic. Now, Casey Neistat started off his career with his brother, and they used to make movies called, they used to make videos, or they call movies, where they were the Neistat brothers. And the Neistat brothers it was a HBO show. I think it was sold to HBO, and it was basically like a pranks kind of just comedy skits video, you know, just doing goofy stuff on camera, and it was super low budget. But this is where it gets interesting. Casey wanted to make videos for as long as he can remember, and the iMac G3 came out when he was a young teenager, and he wanted to make movies, and he basically worked his butt off to be able to go and buy this computer. Then he got the computer and he started making movies. Now, for any guys who are not familiar with autism spectrum conditions, the autism spectrum conditions can be characterized by some basic concepts of their behavior patterns. Now, people with autism don't really like socializing with people. Typically, this is just typically, it's not every single person, just typically. They typically don't like socializing or have hard time with socializing. They like to work alone. They're very driven to their passion and their focus to something that they're into. So say your passion is Thomas the Tank Engine, or your passion is Power Rangers or Pokemon, then you're going to be the expert in that field and know everything there is to know about Pokemon or Thomas the Tank or Power Rangers. Also, people with Asperger's syndrome, like myself, or people with autism like myself, have difficulty tying down relationships. It could be friendships, it could be romantic relationships, it could be family relationships, and this is because of the behavior and the brain patterns in the neurodiverse part of, well, the fact that autism is a neurological condition, and other things like no filter, don't know when to say the right thing, don't know what boundaries are acceptable to behave in such a way. They could be deemed as being loud, obnoxious, or overly rude. This happens quite often. So these characteristics in just a social behavior platform is what got me to think something very interesting. Also, eye contact seems to be a big thing for people on the autism spectrum. I use sunglasses to not have to make eye contact with people, and also I use it to block out sun rays from up above. Casey Neistat displays a lot of these types of characteristics and traits in the fact that Casey, once he was like hooked on, I want to make movies, like I said about buying the iMac, he was like, I'll go at it and I'll do it hard, and he did it. He went and he got this computer that he worked really hard for, and he got the computer, and then he just made movies, but really like doubled down, learned everything he could know about making videos, and then he managed to sell the show to HBO, and he made a lot of money, and then he decided to go on YouTube and start making YouTube videos, and the videos are great. He's a fantastic storyteller. One of the greatest videos I've ever seen actually is a Casey Neistat video where he's lost a drone and he has to go and find the drone, and one of the things that I noticed in this video, which is a characteristic trait, especially with autism, I like to find things as puzzles, and I find a way around them. So I like to problem solve, because everything is like a mathematical problem. So, well, people with autism, their brains work in that way. They're trying to problem solve constantly. So that's why they may excel at maths or science or whatever, or something quite kind of like articulately intellectual that people wouldn't usually say, oh, well, a typical person couldn't do those things. Now, Casey in this video loses his drone and it falls into the side of a building, and he has to get it back, and he can't go onto the building because the building's closed. Can't get onto the roof of the building next door because that's privately owned, and etc, etc. So he makes this like fishing hook thing with some wire and a cable, and he just does it, and he hooks this. It's just incredible. It's a great story, but more importantly, it shows that Casey had this problem-solving idea in his head, which runs throughout all his videos. He's always problem-solving. He's very creative. Now, people with autism are super creative. Casey loves creating content, making videos. He loves drawing and painting things to make like signs. Like, he's visually like hands-on, and he likes to have visual representations of everything. Now, Casey not only being a problem solver, this runs true in most of his videos. He customizes everything. Like his skateboard, he had to write. He like burnt his name, his initials into a skateboard. He put his initials in his hat. He put his initials in his sunglasses. He customized his sunglasses because he likes them a certain way. He likes a certain brand of sunglasses. He has no kind of like style really of his clothing. He just gets clothing sent to him, and sometimes he obviously wears his own merch that he makes himself. And this is fascinating because this reflects what I believe to be an autism trait in somebody like Casey, because people with autism are usually very creative people. You know, they're people who have creative flares, they have people with creative aspirations, and they want to be creative and do all these cool things. And Casey is no exception to the rule here. Problem solving 101 is like my go-to. I love problem solving. I love finding an issue with like digital tech or physical kind of like manifestations of things like a car or a house, and trying to figure out how can we fix this. And I love doing those things because I just love the challenge of how can I do this. That's why I love doing YouTube. Like, how can my videos reach more people? How can I make good content? How does the content be created? How do cameras work? All that stuff is fascinating. Now, Casey, being a problem solver, makes most of his videos about, he builds stuff. He just makes loads of things. The guy's crazy good at making stuff, and being very signature and custom, he makes most of his videos super entertaining for that way. Now, being a bit of a loner, you know, and this is a horrible term to use, but this is what I'm trying to say, is that someone who works on their own, works best on their own, doesn't really work well with other people, doesn't like really being with other people. Now, Casey is exactly like this. He stays in his office, he like closes the door, and he just sits in it on his own, working on his own projects. He travels on his own mostly. I guess he enjoys the travel on his own. Because of this has an impact on his relationship. He's already started a blog and a podcast about his relationship, talking about how, you know, they're going through marriage therapy and stuff. You know, his first marriage failed, and he's got a second marriage, and then they have children, and it's just interesting to see how his personality and how that impacts, like, his work comes first, his creative aspects take over his life, and then he gets obsessed with stuff. Like, he's obsessed with running. Like, Casey just goes out running every single day. People with an autism spectrum condition usually have an obsession, something that they really, really enjoy. For me, my obsession is SEO, which is search engine optimization. I'm obsessed with it. I love it. I can't get enough of it. I love social media and all about how to build social media and all that stuff. I love it. I can talk about it until the cows come home. I also have an obsessive interest in UFOs and like conspiracy theories. And FYI, if you want to see a conspiracy theory video, which I'm actually thinking about doing, please leave me a comment in the comment section below if you'd like to see conspiracy theory videos. I know Shane Dawson's done some, but that's just like scratching the surface. That's like PC stuff. I got like crazy stuff I'm thinking about. They're all the things that I really, really enjoy. Now, Casey enjoys running and making movies, and my goodness, he's obsessed with it. Every single day he runs, no matter which part of the world he's in, if it's raining, snowing, whatever, he goes out and he runs every single day, and he runs like 10 miles a day. The guy's crazy. Now, this is, again, to me, it would be characteristic of somebody who's obsessed with something and wants to do it because it's repetitive. Casey loves to do this. Every single day he gets up, he runs, and there's a video he did where it shows his day where he gets up, he runs, then he comes home, he spends some time with his kids, and then he goes to work, and then he comes home from work, and then he'll spend some time with the family, and then from like 10 o'clock until like 2 o'clock in the morning, he'll do more work again. Like, he's obsessed with his work, and that's his routine. That's his whole routine. But like I was saying, this impacts his relationship. His relationship with his wife is compromised because, again, Casey must be unaware of the impact that this is having on his life because he's so focused on his work. He has hyper focus. Again, part of the condition of autism comes comorbidly with stuff like ADHD, and hyper focus on ADHD is similar to what Casey's doing. And also, Casey tries different things out all the time. He tries this and then drops it, and tries this and then drops it. Like, he wanted to try surfing, and he dropped surfing, and he wanted to do like tech reviews, and he kind of dropped that. And then he did just did loads of things like this, and that's, again, typical of someone with like ADHD. So like, for me, looking at it, I'd say that it reflects simply what I do. I have routines that I love, kind of OCD as well. I have those obsessive interests, which is like main characteristics of autism. I like working on my own. Eye contact. Casey wears sunglasses all the time. He said this because it gives him character, but I also believe that it gives him a shield, a mask to wear out in public. This is very, very common. You know, like, I wear sunglasses out, and I always wear a hood or a hat because those things give me confident when I'm out in social situations. And I believe Casey does this too, but maybe he's unaware of it. Again, I'm not diagnosing. I'm just opening this discussion up for a conversation. And to me, I see all those things in him. I see like the ADHD and the Asperger's and like OCD and stuff in Casey, and I'm thinking, whoa, this is crazy. Now, I also see it in his son, Owen, which is his eldest child, and Owen's quite an interesting bloke as well. He's quite, full on. He's quite serious, and he does kind of like, he studies in San Francisco University. Now, Casey also is a very full on serious guy. He's very passionate about creative stuff, and nothing will stop him doing those things. And I love that about him, and I love that about everybody on the spectrum, that they have this kind of drive and this passion within them to do the thing that they love, and they do it really, really well. It makes no difference if Casey's on the spectrum or not, but to me, it's nice to have heroes, you know, like when I was growing up, I was super different, and I didn't have any heroes like that. And I loved people like Stephen Hawking and Nikola Tesla, and I loved science and stuff like that. And then I got into music, and I loved musicians like Owl City and stuff like that. And he's on the spectrum. And my friend of mine, MC Lars, I got really into his music when I was younger, and he's got ADHD, and all of those things. It's nice to have heroes to look up to. So if any kids are watching Casey Neistat and they think, hey, I see myself and I resemble myself within him, then that's a cool thing. I believe that's a really awesome thing to have, because it gives that person somebody to relate to. It gives that person somebody to look up to. And Casey's a good role model, and I feel like, hey, if he is on the spectrum, it's cool because he's a good role model for kids, and he's a great father, and he makes great content, so go check him out. If you don't know who Casey is, I will leave a link to his channel below in the description so you guys can check him out as well. But I'd love to know your thoughts on it. What do you think about Casey Neistat? I mean, if you think this video could help somebody kind of see him as a hero or whatever, please share this video. It would be awesome, because sharing is caring. But definitely leave me a comment in the comment section below, because I'd love to have this discussion with you guys. It's juicy, it's hot topic. I love it. I'd love to know what you think about if Casey's on the spectrum, and if you know of any other YouTube creators who are not diagnosed or not openly talking about being on the spectrum. I'd love to maybe do a video about those too, and look at those and discuss their characteristics and traits. So anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to me if you want to see more videos like this, and check out the other videos that are each side of me, because maybe they will spark some interest in you. And I'll see you next time, guys. Peace.